Hey everyone, Ryan here, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 291. I'm going to be doing this entire episode in Morse code using my Baby Yoda keylight that you can find on MandRshop.com. Let's get into it with our first question from Bronze Wright, who says, do you think that for LEGO Star Wars anniversary years like 2024, LEGO should do a fan vote for sets and characters to be released? I would love nothing more than to see more fan interaction out of the LEGO Star Wars team. I think that'd be amazing for just everyone to be able to give input on certain things from time to time. I think there are important decisions that end up splitting the community that could be avoided when you do fan votes, whether it is directly for, UCS set like we saw with the gunship, the TIE bomber, and the Nebulon B frigate, or if it's like a decision on like, are we going to do cloth waist capes or not? Like that sort of stuff I think should also be put to a vote potentially, although I think common sense should have won the day on that one, but that's besides the point. Fan votes I think definitely have a place in the LEGO Star Wars space, and for as big as the fandom is, I think they would be very, very helpful to help LEGO Star Wars determine a direction on some of the sets they want to make or some of the sublines that they would continue doing, whether that's helmets versus MIDI scale or, stuff like that. I think this can be applied to a lot more things than just, anniversary waves or sets, but specifically for anniversary sets, I also think that is a great application for them. And I'll tell you, I have very few times had more fun than I did when I was campaigning for the UCS Republic gunship on this channel and making content with people. One of my favorite videos I've done that never ended up getting a lot of views was a debate video that I did with a couple of friends, Dan and Will. We gave our case for why each UCS set between the gunship, the Nebulon B frigate, and the TIE bomber should be the next UCS set. And I think that sort of stuff makes LEGO Star Wars and the online space very fun to me, and is obviously missing nowadays because they haven't done a fan vote since 2020, and I don't expect them to. As great as I think it is, and as great as I'm sure you think it is, I don't expect them to do a fan vote because of how poorly the last one went for them. And it's not entirely unheard of for them to go a long time without doing a fan vote. The last time they did a fan vote before the UCS one in 2020 was in the late 2000s with what ended up being the Toys R Us Mon Calamari Cruiser exclusive set. And before that, there was a couple in like 2006, 2005, 2004 era. Basically, fan votes don't happen all that often with LEGO Star Wars, and because of just how poorly I think the last one went for them, I just don't see them doing it. So I love the idea, and I would love to see them do it, just I don't think they'll do it. Next question from Print Cloud says, don't you think that waist cape should at least be dual molded legs so it goes all the way around the legs and they could just print the open part? So this has been one of the solutions thrown out to waist capes. Basically, we have the printed ones that we have now. That's one potential solution. We have your dual molded with a print on the front to create the white space instead of printing the black space. And then, of course, the cloth camas of the past decade that were just great and are how it should continue, because if you do this dual molded leg thing, you're basically making the top part of the legs black, right? And so the middle part then has to be printed white. You can't print white on black if you're LEGO. That historically does not look good at all. It will not match the white that is directly below on the dual molded legs. There's a few examples throughout the history of LEGO, but I think this one looks specifically awful with the white printed on black, and that's exactly how you can expect it to look if they did it for Clone Troopers. It frankly wouldn't look good, just like it doesn't look good now, and the ultimate solution is to go back to where we came from with cloth camas, because they're just the best version of what we had. It's the best thing they can do for that thing, period, full stop. In short, it might be better than what we have now with the printed waist cape, but it won't be as good as what we had with the cloth cama. So I do think that we should just go back to the cloth cama instead of compromising for no reason. Next question from Michael says, cleaning LEGO is something we all need to do eventually. What's your process look like? And do you have any customized tools? So, no. We don't all need to clean LEGO eventually anymore. I have spent like the last 4 or 5 years of my life planning for this day. My days of dusting LEGO are gone, bro. I am over the moon about this. All I have to do every once in a while is grab some Windex and a paper towel and wipe down my glass shelving or glass door. That's the word I'm looking for, glass door. And that's it. I don't have to dust the sets. They're completely dust-free in there. Everything is weather stripped. It's clean for life. I'm over the moon about not having to dust LEGO sets anymore. Now, back in the day when I had my disgusting LEGO setup, and if you look at some of my old videos, you can just see how many LEGO sets I would stack on the shelves. It was honestly, frankly, disgusting. And of course, all of this stuff would get mad dusty. And so back in the day, I always just used a sock and I would like slowly try to clean in between the studs. It was not an ideal process, but it's just what I used. I didn't have any specialized tools or anything. Some people suggest paintbrushes or makeup brushes, and those could be useful for you. Some people have the vacuum things. I don't believe in vacuums for dusting on Lego. I just don't think it works. Plus, you could accidentally vacuum up pieces. But yeah, my days of dusting Lego are over, and I couldn't be happier about it. Next question from Griffin says, do you think there will actually be the Z-95 Headhunter in summer of 2024? It's a current rumor. He says because with that and the Clone Battle Pack coming out in January, it could be an awesome year for Clone Troopers. And as of now, for all the information we have, the Z-95 Headhunter is completely fake. And like I say with fake rumors, just because a rumor is fake doesn't necessarily mean it won't eventually happen anyway. Like I could sit here right now and tell you in 2024 there's going to be a Darth Vader's TIE Fighter set, but I'm just making that up. I'm just saying that. So that is a fake rumor, right? But that doesn't, like, it's not entirely impossible that they would make a Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. So I just want to put it in that context. But for all intents and purposes, Z-95 Headhunter rumor is fake. And it's a more unlikely set than Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. So it's most likely not coming next year, if at all at any point in the next decade. You know, it's just one of those sets they might not make again. I think an ARC 170 is much more due for a remake than a Z-95 Headhunter. Oh, and if for some reason you didn't catch my video about that rumor originally, I'll link it down in the description below. Please watch it. It's got some pretty dirty laundry aired out in there about why that rumor is fake and some of the people that are like working behind the scenes to like try to keep the value of figures high, like Captain Rex. You know, I think that's some bad stuff going on in the community right now, and I discuss it in that video. So check the link in the description. Willie Slop says, do you think you'll ever be a competitor for the biggest clone army ever title? And I don't think so. I don't think that I will ever have the most clone troopers of any, you know, individual collector. This isn't like comparing yourself to like Lego's 35,000 clone trooper army. That's of course unattainable for an individual, and you're going up against a entire company, and they literally can just print, like the government can print money, they can print clone troopers, you know? So I think that that's an unfair comparison to make. But as far as individual collectors, I just also don't think I'll ever quite be the #1 clone army, because at this point in time, I think I have somewhere around 2,000 clone troopers, which in and of itself is absolutely disgusting and insane. If I told, you know, 13, 14-year-old me that I'm going to have 2,000 clone troopers one day, I would probably have fainted, because at the time I think I had maybe 200 in my clone army. So basically in the early days of the Lego Star Wars YouTube space, there was a channel that a friend of mine, XX Misery XX09, made, and it was called the Official LLCA Group. LLCA standing for Largest Lego Clone Army, and it basically somewhat documented everyone that had the biggest Lego clone army on YouTube at the time. And if you look at the channels list, featured channels on that page, I believe it was set up to have the order of who had the largest clone army from biggest to smallest. And you can see my good friend Republic Attack on there, and you can see me down there in 6th place behind a few other people. And at the very top was this fella named Rules. This guy is a legend, dude. So I said I have like 2,000 clone troopers now. This guy had 2,390 clone troopers in 2012. Now, he was cheating a little bit with his vehicles. I don't know why he put a regular Y-Wing into his clone army, so shame on you, Rules. That is wrong. But regardless, he had an amazing assortment of vehicles. He had a ton of gunships, Venators, ARC 170, Clone Wars, Y-Wings. I mean, you name it, it was there from that great 2008 to 2012 era of Clone Wars sets. And he had just a disgusting amount of clone troopers. And the way he set them up was pretty cool. He would set them up in kind of a unique shape that just looked really cool on the base plates. That's something that I, to this day, still haven't even tried for myself. But this guy was amazing, and I couldn't fathom at the time having enough money to amass that amount of clone troopers. I mean, it was just crazy to be able to see. And my real claim to fame, gonna be honest here, guys, it's none of this. It's that I was the first comment on his 2012 Clone Army video. Yeah, you'll never be me. So I've never really truly considered it a possibility for me to have the biggest clone army of any Lego Star Wars collector. It's also not something that I've, you know, been trying to do. I will also say my buddy Pat, Polybag Pat, you know, I was casually talking to him. I was like, yeah, man, I've been setting up my clone army. I got about 2,000 clones. He's like, I think I have 4,000. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just never win. But yeah, he's a mad clone army collector over there. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever be a competitor for the biggest, because it's not something I necessarily am going for, but also there's just people that are better at it than me. Volk says, do you think we'll be getting a UCS version of Rey Speeder in 2025 for the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens? And what other ships from the sequel trilogy would you like to see as UCS sets as their movies hit the 10-year mark? As far as other sequel sets in UCS form, I really think there's only one to me, and that would be Kylo Ren's shuttle that I would want as a UCS set. I mean, I literally just don't care enough about any of the other vehicles in the movies to see them as UCS sets. I mean, maybe a Poe's X-Wing would be pretty cool with the black and orange, color scheme would be nice, but like I still don't think it's iconic enough to make it as a UCS set. And when it comes to Ray Speeder, personally, I don't see them making that as a UCS set. They've only ever made the one play set back in 2015 when the movie first came out. It clearly, to me, did not have enough, sticking power to be brought into any other form for Lego Star Wars. They've literally made that one. Maybe they put it in an advent calendar, Maybe with Rey getting her movie, there's a case to be made, that's a little bit different. But in a vacuum without any new media coming out, I think that Ray Speeder is off the table as a UCS set. But you did remind me of a pretty crazy time in Lego Star Wars when like the movies were coming out, and I think there was like a leak basically of a UCS Ray Speeder from maybe the Force Awakens video game or something, where they were showing some developer Q&A. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was a UCS Ray Speeder model that was in like a room that they showed on an official like Lego Star Wars video of something, and a lot of people, I think myself included, were like, holy crap, that's going to be a Ray's UCS speeder that's going to be happening. Holy crap. Wow. And I believe it turned out to just be a fan's mock that one of the people there just really wanted to build and have on their shelves at the time. So it was a big nothing burger. But I think that's the closest we'll ever get to getting a UCS Ray speeder, which is to say, I just don't think they're going to do it. Hemlock Falls says, you mentioned replica stickers on the dropship. If you had the complete dropship with ATOT, not pieced together, but with no stickers, would you stick replicas to it? I'm asking because I got the 7163 gunship, but it was sent with replica stickers, and I can't decide if I want to use them or not. Dude, you should 1000% put your replica stickers onto your gunship. It makes it look like the original thing that it was supposed to look like, and I think of all the things, I guess the helmets now with Clone Troopers, I used to be like 110% purist when it came to Lego, but Lego started making some pretty bad decisions in my eyes. And so when it comes to helmets on Clone Troopers, to keep my sanity, I can no longer be a purist with that because they just look so bad. So I've gone and replaced a lot of them. And stickers were always an area that I applied this to because I felt like Lego put out stickers that would just wear poorly over time, and they never continued to sell or provide sticker sheets. I always thought, maybe a bit of a pipe dream I had, but like Lego, if they're going to put stickers in sets, should create enough sticker sheets to be able to send out replacements for like a decade. That's probably asking way too much, but that's what I thought for some period of time. But at this point in time, I just think buying the replica one, and I think you should apply the replica one, and you honestly just won't notice the difference between the replica and what was the real one. So you can see I did this with my UCS Naboo Starfighter recently. I literally had to throw out the original stickers. I should have just started with the replica sticker sheet, because someone would have bought that original sticker sheet for some absurd amount of money, even though the stickers are basically worthless because they won't even stick onto the dang Naboo Starfighter. It's a little bit annoying. Smeagol says, do you store all of your videos? Obviously, yes, I think. And how? I don't keep any of my YouTube videos locally. All of my YouTube videos get uploaded to YouTube and then deleted off the device. I don't buy a bunch of SSDs and stuff to try and store all of my content that I've ever made. I just don't do it. I don't know if it's common practice with other YouTube people, but it's just not something that I do or see a need to do. Maybe that's the wrong thing, but it's just not what I do. Jedi Brick says, what's a popular minifig that you don't like? And I told him that if I answered this week, I'd get a lot of hate comments. So I'm going to refrain. Nicholas McDonald says, what is the closest you got to stopping YouTube and what made you keep posting? So I've talked about a couple of these instances before, but I think in light of last week's episode where I talked a lot about what got me into Lego YouTube and all of that, I think it is kind of pertinent. And there were a couple of key moments. I think around 9th or 10th grade, so 2013, 2014, my dad's job was potentially going to be moving from Melbourne, Florida to Alpharetta, Georgia. And Alpharetta, Georgia actually turns out a pretty dang nice area. I actually really like it now that I'm older and know about it. But when I was younger, man, I did not want to move. And in my head, I was just like, man, if we move, I just guess I'm quitting Lego. And I don't know if I was necessarily close to stopping there, but that was just one of those moments in my head where I was like, man, this is it. It's over. I'm not playing basketball at the park anymore. No more airsoft in the woods. Life's about to get rough when I moved to Alpharetta, Georgia. I was going to lose all my friends. That always, moving to high school, I'm sure really sucks. I fortunately didn't have to do it. Didn't happen. My dad was an early adopter of work from home. The option was go to Georgia or start working from home. So he actually started working from home in like 2013 or something, before COVID and everyone started working from home. But anyway, that was one point in time where mentally, like, I've just always held on to that. But the bigger point in time was in 2015. And we've been talking a lot recently about Mexico factory figs. And one of the first Mexico factory figs to leak was actually like Captain Phasma, along with some other episode 7 figs. But at the time I posted a video talking about the Captain Phasma figure, I was just excited, as any fan would be, about a new movie and a new Lego minifigure figure from that movie with Captain Phasma. So from this and a couple other YouTube videos, Lego completely nuked my channel at the time. It was gone, deleted, everything I had ever done to that point in time just out the window. And I don't know if I was that sad about it necessarily. I was just like, man, that's it. It's just gone, I guess. But I was at a convention at the time, so I didn't know how to feel about it. Just sharing my love of Lego at a Lego convention, and they don't love you back again. Huh? What do you know? Anyway, I basically had to beg for them to remove the YouTube strikes from my channel and say that I would delete the video, as soon as they removed it, basically. I don't know. It was awful, and yeah, I would have probably had to quit because my channel would have been completely nuked and I would have had nothing. I would have been starting at zero, and I don't know after 5 years if I would have wanted to start at zero again. I mean, I maybe had like 10,000 subs at the time, maybe 15. I don't know. Nothing substantial or anything close to what I have now and all the work that I put in now. But at the time, it was still all the work I had done to that point, and it would have felt really bad to see it all out the window. Bricks by Fix wants to know if I play fantasy football. I do, but unfortunately, Team Helmet Holes is about to enter a 3-game losing skid as I'm losing to Team Cursed Eathcoth. It's been going poorly the last few weeks. But yeah, I do play. Just ain't winning a lot now. And with this last question from Gavin, I'm going to show you exactly how much money I made my first 6 years making YouTube videos, because he says, what exactly was the $69 day you referred to? The $69 day is the first day that I thought, hey, maybe I can do YouTube as my career. If I could make $69 every day, that would be $25,000 a year, which is not really enough money to live on in today's world, but it is, a good starting point for something to build off of. And I was like, man, if I get that level and can build off of that, we could be looking at something pretty good. And so I made $69 on December 16th, 2016. To that point, it was by far the most money I had ever made in a day on YouTube. And if you look at the graph, I think you can understand why I talk about the $69 day, because to that point, it's a pretty flat graph. I mean, there were a lot of days in the early years, $1, $2, 50 cents, and, added up to $100 every couple months, but that's not money you call your job. That's your hobby, side hustle, whatever money. But you can see pretty clearly here, after years and years of uploading, I finally just had one big explosive day, and I believe this specific video was a pre-review of the Battle or Duel on Naboo set with Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon that just for whatever reason really popped off and got very popular and got a lot of views, and therefore made me $69. And just on that day, man, for pretty obvious reasons, because it was way higher than the rest, I was like, man, what if I could make $69 every day? So if we look at the yearly graph, for 2009 and 2010, I made $0. 2009 and most of 2010, I had another channel called Ryan and Joda. That's the one that I originally started on that I talked about last week. But 2011, I actually made $535. Things were starting to look pretty good. Of course, this is completely just for fun. It was crazy that a 14-year-old could make $500 in a year just posting random Lego videos, but I did, and I obviously used all of this money that you see on the graph to buy Lego sets at the time. But in 2012, I made $644. 2013, I made $836, and then in 2014, I finally made more than $1,000 in a year. This is sophomore year of high school with $2,369, about the same amount of money in 2015, and ironically, 2015, I thought as The Force Awakens was coming out, I was like, man, I'm going to take YouTube seriously. I'm going to try really hard to get popular. I didn't think I was going to do it as a job, but I was just like, I'm going to try to get a lot of subscribers from the new movie. And I still made just as much money the year the movie came out than the year before. But the year following in 2016, we saw another big jump to $3,600 for the year, baby. And again, all of this money was basically used to buy Lego sets and like a yearly copy of Call of Duty. So if you want to know how I got a lot of my early Lego collection, this was it. Because over the course of this decade, I pulled in $10,526.63. So not a lot of money for someone trying to like live an adult life and, own housing and, have a car and all of that stuff. But for teenager me, just making it through middle school and high school, just with some extra pocket money, man, 10 grand over the course of 6 years was awesome. So that was my revenue for the first 6 years on YouTube. And you can just see how long things can take to accumulate and work into something, that is actually, worthwhile. And for a long time, it was just a hobby. Also, in case you want to know how many videos I uploaded in that time period where I made $10,000, it was over 500 because the YouTube thing says you can only see up to 500. and so it goes up to 501 there, which obviously it skips 1 and 2. So maybe it was 499. I'm not sure. But regardless, it was at least 500 YouTube videos over the course of 6 years. Like, it's a lot of work that I put in to build it to that point before I even considered the possibility that I could do it as a job. So long-winded answer potentially, but just some really cool behind the scenes stuff that I thought I could show off here today. It just is interesting even for me to see because I don't look at it all that often. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed, please hit the like button. If you want to save some money on your holiday season purchases, make sure you use our sponsor Rakuten with the link in the description below. See ya.